Hello, Dale Carter's America family. It's Kurt. Today, we have a very special interview to present for you. Dale is going to be talking to Congressman Billy Long. Mr. Long is currently a United States Congressman representing Missouri's 7th District, and he is currently running in the Republican primary for the Senate seat after Roy Blunt last year announced he would not be running for re-election. In this interview, you'll hear Billy explain why he thinks he's the best candidate over the other candidates in the crowded field for the Republican primary for Senate. You'll hear him talk a little bit about his background as an auctioneer and his relationship with President Donald Trump. We want to thank Billy for taking the time to talk to us on Dale Carter's America, and we hope that you enjoy the interview and that it will help you make an informed decision about who to vote for in the upcoming primary. Will Mr. Long be replacing Roy Blunt in the Senate as he replaced Mr. Blunt in the House of Representatives? We'll soon find out. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy.
Congressman, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How you doing today?
Awesome. We're talking to 7th District Congressman Billy Long, who is in a crowded field for the nomination for the U.S. Senate to replace Roy Blunt. First of all, it wouldn't be the first time you've replaced Roy Blunt, and it wouldn't be the first time you've been in a crowded field. This is not new to you.
It's not new at all, and it's not the first time that I would be the underdog in that field either.
And yet you came through it. In this crowded field, what do you do? Because I think it's important. I speak for Dale Carter's America, the podcast here. We have got to keep that seat in the Republican fold if we're going to take back the Senate and the House, obviously, in the midterms here. How do you emerge from that crowded field?
Well, I'll tell you what I told President Trump when I went to see him back in August, when I first announced on Tucker Carlson's show that I was going to be running for Senate, or that I was running for Senate. And I told the president, I said, I can offer you a 3-for-1 deal. He said, how's that? And I said, well, everyone says, including the party, including the NRSC, if we nominate Eric Greitens, it's not that he can't win, but we'd have to spend $40 to $50 million party money trying to drag him over the finish line. And if we nominate me, if I'm the nominee, the Democrats are not going to come after me hot and heavy. We're not going to have to spend a lot of money because they know it's a very red seat in a red state. They're not going to waste their money on this seat. We can spend that $40 to $50 million in Arizona picking up that seat we should have never, ever lost, and spend it in Georgia picking up that seat we should have never, ever lost, because that's the thing that people don't understand. Both of those seats were on the ballot in 2020, less than 2 years ago. Both of those seats are back on the ballot because they were special elections. So it's very rare that you have a Senate seat, Senate race, and then 2 years later it's back. So my path to victory is two things. Number one, if Trump would endorse me. The latest poll that I did a couple of weeks ago, and it was by far the most legitimate poll that I've seen, because I didn't tell the pollster, now you go out and you make me look good, because every time Hartsford's people poll, she comes out on top. Every time Schmidt's people poll, he comes out on top. Every time Greitens' people poll, he comes out on top. I said, I don't want that. I want to know the facts. And my poll showed a lot higher undecided vote than anyone else. My order was Eric Greitens is leading this thing, and if anyone thinks he's not, you're kidding yourself. Eric Schmidt is in second place. I know there was a Trafalgar poll that came out yesterday, showed Vicky in second, but I've seen polls similar to mine that weren't prejudiced, that Schmidt was in second, Vicky third, and I'm in fourth. And the interesting thing about my poll, if you ask people, do you know all four candidates? The people that said they know something about or know all four candidates say, in that poll, I'm 1 point behind Eric Greitens. So he was at 19 in my poll. Schmidt was at, I think, 16. Vicky was 13. I was 11. So a poll the other day that I saw someone put out, I was 4 points behind Hartsford. So it's not that I'm, not anywhere out in the offing. So I told President Trump recently, I said, J.D. Vance was at 11% in the polls. I'm at 11% at the polls. I said, when you endorsed J.D. Vance, he shot to the top of the charts. He won by 10 points going away. And that same thing will happen to me, Mr. President. So that's my first path to victory. If he will do that, if he will endorse me in this race, it's over. But it's not just me. being honest, which I am. I'm not a politician. I'm an auctioneer real estate broker that has happened to serve 31 years in auction and real estate and then went to Congress 12 years ago. But I've taken my common sense values to Congress. I've kept them, and I haven't, a politician would tell you, oh, he's going to endorse me. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying whoever he endorses wins this race. Well, so if he would endorse, I do the same thing J.D. Vance did. The second way I win, this thing's become the battle of the billionaires' bucks. It's not Build Back Better BBB. It's battle of billionaires' big bucks. It's or battle of their big bucks. And Schmidt in St. Louis has 3 billionaires backing him to the tune of $3.5 million. They've given him money for a super PAC to beat up Hartzler and Greitens. Greitens has 2 out-of-state billionaires that have given him big bucks, $3.5 million again, to beat up Schmidt and Hartzler. Mitch McConnell, some buddies of his, 4 days after Josh Hawley endorsed Vicky, set up this PAC out of the ether, just all of a sudden set up this huge PAC, endorsed 2 people that day. They set it up. Katie Britt, who just came out first place in Alabama the other day, she has a runoff against Mo Brooks, and Vicky Hartzler. And so Vicky's going to have all of McConnell's people. McConnell's freaked out that Greitens is going to be our nominee, and Chuck Schumer is Greitens' campaign manager. So my other hope of winning, other than a Trump endorsement, is the fact that people get sick and tired of these attack ads where they're all attacking each other with billionaires' big bucks and McConnell's big bucks. And they just say, hey, is there a decent person in here? Is there someone that has served in Congress 12 years that's in Washington but not of Washington, that has by far the most conservative voting record? You look at FreedomWorks, I'm 100%. Vicky's 60%. She's tied with Liz Cheney at 60%. You look at the 2020 Club score, Club for Growth, I'm 91% or 92%. Vicky is 61, again tied with Liz Cheney. You look at American Conservative Union Lifetime, I'm 8 or 9 points ahead of Vicky. She's maybe a point ahead of Liz in that category. So I'm hoping people will say, hey, is there a decent person that we can send to Washington and we don't have to worry that he's going to change, I'm going to be the same guy. Kellyanne Conway is my senior advisor, and she'll tell you that you send Billy Long to Washington, you don't have to worry about him. Eric Schmidt, when he was in the Missouri Senate, they called him the 9th Democrat senator. He was very pro-China. He tried to put a Chinese hub in St. Louis. He led the charge on that. He voted, which allowed Smithfield Foods to buy 40,000 acres of farmland and buy Smithfield Foods, for the Chinese to buy Smithfield Foods and 40,000 acres of Missouri farmland. What are we doing selling farmland to a Chinese company? It was illegal before that vote came through, but now you hear Eric Schmidt at these Lincoln days that, oh, he's tough on China. He's tough. He's going to fight back. He's going to push back. And that's the same thing that Hartzler says. She says, I'm tough. I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter. Well, when we had statewide Lincoln days over in St. Charles, Missouri, we had a forum there. 4 of us were there. Greitens wasn't there. Schatz was tied up in Jeff City at that time. He couldn't get away for the weekend because they had a weekend session. So there were 4 of us there, and they told us after this forum, you all go back to your green rooms, and we're going to come get you one at a time and take you in to talk to the press. And Long, you're third. Okay. I go to my green room. 2 minutes later, a lady comes by and says, okay, Billy, we're ready to start the press avails. And I said, well, I'm not first. I'm third. Well, yeah, but Schmidt and Hartzler don't want to talk to the press. Now, this is after the 2 of them stood there and said, what fighters, how they're going to fight Chuck Schumer, and I'm not afraid. I'm going to fight Joe Biden. Next Tuesday down in Springfield, they're having this big Senate forum, and they were going to have all 6 of us there at the Senate forum. And they originally booked it on a date we were going to be in Washington. And I told them, I said, hey, Vicky and I can't be there if you keep that date. So they changed the date to a date that we would be in Missouri, that we won't be in Washington. And guess how many of the 6 are going to be at that forum next Tuesday?
I have no idea.
The three lowest in the poll.
Okay.
Long, McCloskey, and Schatz. Vicky's not showing up. Schmidt's not showing up because he won't show up anywhere that Greitens doesn't show up. That's his excuse for not debating or not doing forums. And, of course, Greitens doesn't show up anywhere. So it's going to be your bottom 3 tier at this big Senate forum in Greene County, a big county in Southwest Missouri. So
one thing I could tell you, Congressman, you are ready for the filibuster, because that may be the longest answer to a question I've ever gotten. So
when I want your opinion, I'll give it to you.
I want to get you across the finish line. I want to get a Republican across that finish line, because there's a lot of work to do in D.C. What we talk about on the podcast is it's not about changing the jerseys from blue back over to red. There are real issues going on in this country. I mean, we've got very limited time here. I've got about another 5 minutes. What do you think the top issues that we need to get done with a Republican Congress and Joe Biden as president?
The best we can hope for, and again, ideal and honesty, I don't give the political answer. The politicians say, we'll do all this great stuff. Best we can do is slow him down for 2 years until we can get Donald J. Trump back in the White House. But what we need to do is return to all of Trump's policies. Joe Biden has such a bad case of Trump derangement syndrome that he did away with Keystone XL the first day. He did away with the border wall immediately. He did away with Remain in Mexico. There's a funeral today in Springfield, Missouri. A friend of mine's 30-some-year-old child that died of fentanyl. That's like the fourth or fifth personal friend. I've had two in the Kansas City area that lost children to fentanyl, to these opioid overdoses, and where they're lacing it with fentanyl. So we need to return to all of Trump's policies. We need to deregulate like Trump did and become oil energy independent like we were on January 21st. 2021 until 11:59 in the morning when Joe Biden took over at noon.
Well, the first episode we did of the podcast was on Inauguration Day, and I said, let's give the guy a chance. He said, give me a chance. And I swear, I didn't go about this trying to not like him at all, but every decision he has made, it's like it's wrong. He's wrong on everything.
Yeah, and he's been wrong for ever since he's been in. Who was it? In the military, I can't see Bob. Robert. I can't call his last name right now, but he said every foreign policy decision Joe Biden's made for 35 years has been dead wrong.
Robert Gates is who you're trying to think of there. Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Robert Gates. You bet.
All right, so once you get all of that done and we slow things down, I have a theory that the Democrats are driving us toward the cliff at 100 miles an hour, but when Republicans have been in charge, they're driving us toward the cliff at the speed limit. The destination is the same. We need a paradigm shift. We're $30 trillion in debt. We've got to have a plan to get out of that.
There was and again, that's why these Lincoln days, you throw out these red meat speeches and people cheer, and Vicky Hartzler will stand at a Lincoln Day and say, we need to get our spending under control. But look at her record. She's voted for 17 omnibuses, minibuses, and continued resolutions. 17. Look at the record. It's easy to sit there and tell the people you're going to cut spending. Nancy Pelosi on March 9th had a $1.5 trillion package that she couldn't get through. She split it in two halves, put a Democrat Christmas tree over here with Democrat ornaments, a Republican Christmas tree with Republican ornaments. The trick was both sides had to pass to send it to the Senate because the Senate was not going to take it up. I voted against both halves. Hartzler voted for the Republican half, which allowed the entire thing to go through. So these Lincoln days, they stand there and lie to you about, we need to cut spending. Go check their record, folks.
All right. Well, I think it's pretty safe bet here that we're going to have a red tsunami this November because of everything that's going on in this country. I don't think anybody buys what Joe Biden is selling, that it's Putin's fault or the ultra MAGAs and all this. Every time he tries to insult, he steps on his own foot. I think you got a really good shot here. Whoever comes out of this primary in August is going to be the senator to replace Roy Blunt. And I do wish you the best of luck because you do a radio show down in Springfield. I'm a radio guy. The podcast is kind of a side gig. I'm a country music morning guy. So I kind of have a soft place in my heart for you because you're just like a regular guy.
I love country music, so let's talk about that next time I'm on. And I want to encourage people to go look at BillyLong.com. Check out our website, BillyLong.com. And don't vote wrong, vote long, and don't be silly. Vote for Billy.
Can you give me a little auction stuff here just for fun?
Die but 100 1/4 hands and about 2 1/4 hands and about 3 equal to about 300 3 1/4 hands 3 hands and about 400. If you want to see something funny, Google Billy Long auctions the Stanley Cup.
All right, we'll definitely do that. Congressman, thank you, and hopefully when you're a senator, you'll come back on the podcast.
Anytime. Don't invite me unless you want me to show up because I'll always show up.
All right. Best of luck to you, my friend. Take care.
The views expressed on Dale Carter's America are Dale's and Kurt Wheeler's. They do not necessarily reflect the views of KFKF or Steel City Media. Comments can be sent to dalecartersamerica@gmail.com. Check back for weekly episodes. Subscribe, spread the word, and give us a 5-star review. Thanks for being a part of Dale Carter's America.